James, the Man's Man, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Man's Kitchen. As promised, today we are doing another viewer request, and I'm not sure how this person feels about their name being dropped online, so this is for JR, who works at UG. Now, what she wanted us to make was Cornish game hen stuffed with wild rice. So our first step is going to be to take some wild rice. I have 1 cup of it right here, and it's going into 1 3/4 cups of chicken stock. Turning my burner on, putting a lid on it, and that's going to take 45 minutes, and there's really not much more for me to do in the meantime. When it gets a little closer, I'm going to get the hens prepped up to be ready to stuff, so I'll see you then. But in the meantime, why don't you go on Instagram and like us there, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and hit the subscribe button at the bottom of this video, and hit the bell so you can get notifications. And I'll be back to it. Okay, we're back, and sorry about being in such a rush earlier. It was just really important I got the rice on as fast as I did because I gotta get back to work after this. So the rice is still doing its thing, and it's gonna be in there for about another 10 minutes or so. So right now's the time we're gonna work on these chickens. So before we start our Cornish hens, not chickens, or Cornish hens, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our compound butter made. So we got some softened butter here. Put in basically whatever you like, whatever you want. I'm going to put some parsley in here. I'll put some garlic powder. I love oregano. And some Italian seasoning. Okay. Now we're going to grab a fork. And we're basically just going to mix this all up with a fork. If you wanted to go a little different route, you could put some lemon juice in here, some Tabasco, or some Frank's Red Hot, maybe some Worcestershire sauce. Those are all different ways you could go with making your compound butter. And a compound butter is basically just any butter that you put stuff in. So this is a compound butter. And what we're going to do with it is we're going to load it up into this piping bag. I'm going to show you how to make a piping bag out of some parchment paper. And we're going to get it in the chickens, the Cornish hens, under the skin, but above the meat. So we're going to look for a spot where we can get our finger in here without tearing. And we're going to rub it in. You can see my finger underneath the skin. Okay. Now sometimes you can't just come across because the skin attaches right along the keel very tightly. So you're just going to go over to the other side. And you're going to find a spot just like that on both sides so that you can work it in. Okay. I want to make sure that you can get into the thighs. I think I missed that on the first one. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this chicken, or hen. We're going to come in from the top with our finger. Okay. Careful not to poke through. And just separate all that skin from the meat. There we go. Okay. Sure you can reach in there and get the separating the thigh there too. And remember, whatever you're gonna touch now, if it's the chickens or anything else, you've got salmonella all over your hands. So if you're gonna touch something that's not going in these right now, go wash your hands. But this is okay, because this is all going in the chicken right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our triangle parchment paper. Roll it up into a cone. Now you could use a real piping bag for this, but for something small like this, it's usually just easier to just make a quick one. And actually in school, during our baking classes, we had to make one of these on every exam. So what I like to do is take my 1 point, fold it in. Okay. Now I can load this up with my compound butter. So actually the chef that was running the baking program at the school, he would always have one of these of melted chocolate in his pocket. He said it's always a good habit to have when you work in a bake shop, to carry a little melted chocolate with you. He said he owned a bakery, and he said all of his guys at the start of the day would make one of these of chocolate, and they just carry it around. So if they ever needed to write something on something in chocolate, then they had it. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put these in wash after I'm done, because now they're contaminated. Okay, so we pop that off. Put this in. So you want to go down to the thigh first. And it's all coming out the wrong end, because I suck at making these. Oh, there it goes, starting to come out. We're just going to force it back in. And you can see right here the butter. Basically, you want to take each chicken and you want to go from A's to B's. You don't need to go too crazy. I get it right into the thighs. It's all coming out the wrong end. I put too much in it. Okay. So there. So I put way too much in it to start out with. And that's okay. Now you know not to load it up that much. So I'll just try and find my seam here. Put this back in. Work it to the bottom of the bag. There, we're just going to roll this up so it doesn't happen. Okay. There. So we're just going to come in here. So I had about 1/3 of a cup of butter to do these 2 chickens. Hens. I keep wanting to call them chickens. Okay. If you got any on the outside, just put it back on the inside. So now this is going to go into the sink. I'm going to wash my hands, and we'll be right back in 1 second. Okay, so the rice has been on for about 45 minutes, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn it off. And I have it on a medium-low heat, medium-low simmer, and we're going to set it off for about 10 minutes while it just absorbs the last of the moisture. In the meantime, we're going to get our tinfoil donuts ready. And what we're going to do is grab some tinfoil. And roll it up. Okay. So what we're going to do when we roast these hens is they're going to spend half an hour on their backs, and then they're going to spend 15 minutes on each side. So what we need is like a little cradle here for them, so they can do that. If you're not going to stuff these with wild rice, what you want to do is you want to take the backs, the winglets here, and you want to tuck them in, just like that. Okay. You want to salt and pepper them, do any final seasoning you're going to do. Set them here. And I don't have any twine in the house, but what you'd want to do is you'd want to tie their ankles together, tie them up nice and tight, and then you would roast this for half an hour, give or take. Put it on its side. And you just kind of crunch in the tinfoil when you do that. It's going to be hot, so do it with your tongs. Roast it for half an hour on that side, or 15 minutes, I mean, and then you'll do it on the other side. So that's what you would do if you were just doing it like without stuffing. What we're going to do in about 8 minutes now is we're going to grab that rice and we're going to stuff it in here, and then we're going to roast it. So I'll see you in 8 minutes. Okay, so there's a little bit of water left standing in there. We're just going to drain it out. So we're going to take a strainer, Lid off. A little salt in here. Apparently pepper wasn't on the grocery list, so everything's just getting salt. Give this a stir. You can see all the different rices in there that make the wild rice blend. There's 4 rices in here. Yeah, crunchy. I was going to spend another hour, well, yeah, almost an hour inside these chickens roasting in the oven. So, we're just going to load them up. Okay. Grab this one back. This is a great thing to do while you're doing stuff, because while we've been doing this, I ran and loaded dishes, went out to the yard, sprayed some weeds, played with the baby for a bit, and I still have time for a nap after this goes in the oven. As long as you have somebody else watching the oven. Okay. So remember, because the spoon's been in the chickens and it's been in the rice, this is all contaminated with salmonella. So whatever you don't use, you throw out now. And I kept this hand from not touching the chickens. I don't think I did. So I got a box of salt with it. Okay. Some salt on there. I have the oven preheated to convection bake, 350 degrees. So now, we'll pick up our chickens. This is definitely where you'd want to tie them up. Keep that stuffing in there. But don't have any twine. I wonder if rubber bands would work, or if they'd melt, or if they get so hot that they'd pop. I'm not quite sure. No, they wouldn't get too hot to pop. I mean, you can boil lobsters with rubber bands on them. Yeah, rubber bands might work. Yeah, so just bend the arm back, both sides, so it's basically holding its head up. Head. Get it in there. Now you don't have to be so boring with what you're roasting it on. You want to put this on a cooling rack instead, so it's any of the grease can drip away from it, go for it. Or if you want to put some vegetables in here, some carrots and celery and onions, you can go for that too. I'm going to wash my hands up, open the oven, and fire these things in. And we'll be back when I spin them. Okay, so these are the Cornish hens after about half an hour of roasting. They're not as dark and delicious in real life as they look in the video. I checked them with the instant read thermometer. And one thing you got to remember is the rice has now been contaminated with salmonella. So we need to get our 180 degrees in the rice, not just the meat. So in the center, we're looking at about 150 right now. In the meat, we're almost at 160. So, yeah, they're not too hot. So what we're going to want to do, and when I squeeze it, oh, you can see that juice bubble. I'm kind of doing this one-handed because camera grandma took the baby out for a little walk. So I'm going to put this down for a second. I'm going to show you how they need to look after. Okay, so I have them kind of holding each other up, and we're going to put these back in the oven for about 10 minutes per side. Originally I thought 15, but I think we're going to do 10 minutes per side here. Okay. All right, well, it's been 10 minutes. We're going to grab our hens. Now, we are going to switch them on their other sides. And all I can smell is butter. They smell amazing. I know that they probably look nice and golden in the video, But right now they're still at that ugly brown stage. Just gonna go back in for about another 10 minutes. And then we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back, and the hens are basically done. So you can put this on the plate. It's got its built-in starch right there, so all you need is some vegetables on the side, and that is that. And you can see some of the parsley under the skin there and there, and it's just so all the butter smell in here. So we're gonna just taste some of this. I don't want to trash them too much because I'm leaving them behind for camera grandma to eat for dinner tonight, and my grandpa's here and stuff. So, well, rice has really picked up a lot of chicken flavor, and really good. Okay. Oh, that dark meat off this drum. That is delicious. And finally, we're gonna go in where I know I put some of that butter on this breast. Because that's the problem with these, is they can dry out really fast, especially if you're trying to get your internal temperature in the middle to get so high, to compensate for the fact that you don't want to get your stuffing to be contaminated with anything that shouldn't be. So really putting some extra butter in there is a good move. That is some top-notch hen. I'm very pleased with myself today. Now, if you want to watch more great videos like this, remember to hit the subscribe button. Tap that little balloon on the side of it to make sure you get the notifications from this. Hit like, leave me a comment. Tell me how you like to make your Cornish hens, or chickens, or turkeys, whatever you like to do with roasting birds. Don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and I'll leave links to all those down in the description below. I'll also leave a link for the video on how to make chicken stock, which we used earlier while boiling up the wild rice. Thank you, and have yourself a good day.